Here's 5 ways if you want to overcome sin. Number 1, make a decision you want to change. Everything starts with a decision, whether it's looking for a new job, changing a relationship, improving a relationship, changing something specifically in your life, changing the way you eat. Everything starts with a decision. You have to commit to that, right? You're willing. Now you're telling yourself you are willing and you want to go in this direction. This does something to our mind, then action will follow. Number 2, start looking for articles written by Christians with scriptures about the specific sin that you're in, or the one that you keep committing that you want to overcome. This is very, very beneficial because it helps direct you to specific scriptures in the Bible that can help you attack this sin, and we're going to talk about it in a later step. But this helps you to focus in exactly on that sin that you keep committing, that you want to overcome, that you want to change. It gives you people that are in similar situations. That's why I said look up articles, but then also how they use the scriptures. And you can glean from that, okay, what may work for me, what may not, depending on the situation in comparison with yours. Number 3, start keeping a journal of this daily. Now, this may take 30 seconds to a minute, maybe on your phone, on notes. If you have an iPhone or Android, I'm sure it has a notes section. But you want to quickly just jot down when you commit this sin, right? So what was the situation? Maybe the thoughts you were having, what triggered it, what basically what you're trying to find from doing this. If you do it daily, as consistent as possible, but the hope is you're doing it daily, is you're trying to start becoming aware of triggers, thoughts, actions that lead you to committing that sin. That's the only point of journaling it, to find out, okay, what happens and leads me to commit this sin. Number 4, make a decision to trust God. How does that look like? You always hear people say, trust God, trust God. Well, you trust God by obeying his scriptures. You show God, hey, I trust you and I choose to obey your scriptures. That's how you actively trust God. Saying that you're going to trust God is not actually trusting God, right? The action part of it is taking those scriptures you got from step 2 and really building a list, maybe 4 to 6 scriptures that this goes into the next step, that you're able to look at daily. Step number 5, and the last important step, read those scriptures daily. So those 4 to 6 scriptures, maybe you have more, maybe you have less, depending on how many verses there are. But you want to read those daily, no matter what you're reading. So, for example, for me, I've been learning about love, and so I started off with articles, everything that I listed here, the steps, right? Now, a couple of them I drifted past from gleaning from those articles that I read, but some of them I didn't. But I've been reading those daily for about a month and a half, 2 months, continually, so I can obey. So I can be reminded when those situations pop up, when I have the opportunity, if I become aware of my actions, what leads to this sin, the scripture pops in my head. I'm like, all right, I have the opportunity now to obey it or not. And so in this way, I am fighting to trust in God. But keep this in mind. 2 Corinthians 12, 8 through 10, Paul was talking about his weakness, the thorn in his flesh. And in this process, he learned. This is very powerful, and I want you guys to take this as you're fighting to overcome the different sins in your life. God's power is made perfect in our weakness. God's power is made perfect in our weakness. And so in insults, hardships, messing up, whatever the case may be, God's power is made perfect in your weakness. So don't get down on yourself. Realize, I messed up. Okay, I'm learning to make this a conviction. I'm learning to be obedient to this. I'm rewiring my mind with God's scriptures. But be encouraged that God will strengthen you and his strength will become perfect in you when you are going through those insults, those weaknesses, those sins that you're trying to overcome.